Welcome back. This is still the Polity reaching you live from Abuja. I've been joined in the studio now by Mr. Samuel Danjuma. He's a policy analyst, a politician, and a concerned Nigerian. He joins me now to do some justice to the issues at hand. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, my brother.
It's good to have you.
Same here.
All right. Let's start with, pardon me, the issue at hand. Before we delve into other matters, we know that the inauguration for the new governor of Kogi State just about a few weeks or days away. But before that, let's quickly talk on other issues, particularly the matter everyone can't seem to stop talking about, the issue with the suspended humanitarian minister and that whole saga. Latest on the news now, we have that her passports and that of the former humanitarian minister have been seized, so to speak, and they've been prevented from leaving the country while the investigation is being carried out. What's your take on the allegations, the counter allegations, and the response of the presidency in all of this?
First, let me start with the last question. I think the president has shown. The last time I was on this program, I talked about the senator from Bruno Ndome, who said that the president is actually in charge of his government. I think his actions in the past few days have shown that the president is actually in charge of his government, and he is not ready to condone any form of corruption or irregularity in the course of executing their assignment for all the ministers. Is action a good one? When you have been accused of something, it's normal for you to be excused and proper investigation done. So you won't block investigation into because you can't be the judge over your own case. So it's a good step. Seizing their passport is also a good step. But one thing I want Nigerians to also know is that whenever you want to fight corruption, corruption is coming back for you. So at this point, let's give Edu an evidence of doubt for her to clear her name and clear herself. Maybe there are things that we need to know that we don't really know yet, because the information at the public domain now is not too clear. There's a counter accusation.
Our chances looking good, being taking into account that no head of agency or minister that has ever been suspended by the president has ever returned.
There are two things. If you have nothing to hide, why not? The investigation is not a witch hunt. It's to clear the air. There's an allegation against you. You did this, you did this, you did this. Now, we have the EFCC, the Economic Crime Agency, already looking into the matter to see if truly there's any form of fraud or anything there. So let's not rush. It's possible she might be the first minister who will survive it if truly her hands are clean, and it will serve as a detriment to others to actually know that whatever you're doing, Nigerians are watching, the president is watching, and the president expects the best and nothing but the best from you.
All right. In all of this saga, do you think this is hurting or the opposite, promoting Nigeria's image in terms of, yes, there are allegations, but it seems the allegations are being taken seriously? Is that a good thing, or is it something that scares away potential investors and so on?
No, this is going to give potential investors hope that their resources, when invested into this country, is going to be protected. Because if within us we're having to clear it and make sure that nothing goes wrong, then it's a good one for us. The only place I have issues is it boils back to people calling for young people to come into leadership. And every time we've had young people given the opportunity, many of them have ended up many of them have ended up not meeting up to expectation. Now, this is a young fellow who has been able to have risen to this level and was supposed to have given the young people more voice when it comes to the issue of governance in this country. And here are all the allegations surrounding the young person. So it boils back to leadership failure. It boils back to bad mentorship. I could remember when we were growing up then as kids, we all aspired to be like the Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and a host of others. But today, you hardly find any young person aspiring to be like any other person, because those in position of authority have sowed bad seeds. You notice someone gets into office, in the first 6-7 months, in the next 1 year, his way of life has changed, everything has changed, and you begin to wonder if this is the easy way to go, why not? These are some of the pointers, because she feels other people did went away with it, so I also can also do it and also go with, though, like I said, she has not been convicted, but this is the pointer. So it's a mixed feeling from both sides. Internationally, yes, it shows that the fight against corruption is up and running, and for us, the younger generation, it's not too much of a good one for us, but I pray she comes out of it and comes out of it clean.
All right, I would like to get your comments on how this is being taken as a young people or a gender issue. But before we get there, I want to get your thoughts on the ministry as a whole. There are a lot of people saying, well, should this ministry even exist in the first place? It seems as though the core mandate of the ministry, according to what some say, is basically their work is to share money. And they say, why should such a ministry exist? And the fact that concurrently, the former minister that held the position and the one currently holding the position are both now, facing all these allegations and so on. People are wondering, is there need for the ministry? Is this perhaps time to just close it down? I'd like to get your thoughts as to how important you think it is, or is it something that could be, absorbed into the presidency itself or some other ministries and would still yield the desired effects, the desired goal of what it's meant for?
I think the former president who actually created that ministry had good intentions for creating the ministry in the first place. And what we should be more concerned are those who have held sway as ministers of that ministry. I don't think the ministry was created for money sharing. No, that's not the essence for it. The essence for that ministry was to be able to reach internally displaced people and the downtrodden, which was a very good initiative. I think what matters is are those who are supposed to carry out oversight functions on this ministry actually carrying out the oversight functions,
such as
you have the legislature, you have the both chambers of the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Rep. We have committees that are to supervise and oversight and run oversight on these ministries. Are they actually doing what they're supposed to do? Then we boil back to the anti-corruption agencies. Are they actually beaming their light on the activity of this ministry and knowing if actually they are doing what they're supposed to do? We have the BPP, which has to do with the award of contracts. Are they actually checking to be sure that the contractors that jobs are being awarded for are actually doing or actually qualified to carry out such assignments and the rest of them? So it boils back to not the idea behind creating the ministry, is actually the players who have held sway. Are they actually being honest to Nigerians and being honest to the president for giving them that opportunity to be leaders? Now, you talked about gender. I think corruption has nothing to do with gender, color, or has anything to do with age or where we come from. The truth about it is, it has to do with the person.
So people are being unfair by saying it's because she's a woman and all of that.
No. We have had issues where people do. Okay, let me take us back memory lane. We had the issue of the first female House of Reps speaker, Patricia Ate, and the issue of 660 million for renovation, and we all saw it was a witch hunt. At the end of the day, the man who took over from her, he did that same renovation in billions of naira, and it went down the cap. So it's not about gender. It's not about because she's a woman. Like I said, it's possible what she wanted to do is she stepped on toes trying to change what they were, because I remember her saying that at this time around there's not going to be bottlenecks, money is going to get to those that are supposed to get to them directly, money that is meant for this is going to be, we're going to relieve 40 million Nigerians from poverty, we're going to do direct transfer to them. There might have been people who have been making the country fat before now, and by this statement and by our actions is depriving those people those opportunities. Like I said, when you fight corruption will fight you back. So it's possible it was a setup. So let's give both sides, the agency investigating her and her herself, the evidence of doubt. Let everybody table what is on the ground, or what is hidden that we don't know yet. Maybe at the end of the day, we need to have a balance and really understand what is really happening. Like I said, she might be lucky, and at the end of the day, come back clean and be the first minister who have survived this. So, very, very possible.
All right. I think part of the issues now is in the quest to fight corruption. Like you said, it will fight back. What ways do you think they can counter this? But that aside, the story seems to be evolving and expanding each day, more being revealed. I believe so far, according to a lot of Nigerians, the quote-unquote poster boy for this administration has been the Minister of Interior. And somehow his name has also been dragged into this issue, where a company where he once owned or once presided over got about over 400 million naira consultancy fees. And he said he had what's the word? Resigned, but then it's still attached to his family. I think his wife or thereabouts. But that aside, what do you make of that saga? Because people are saying that it seems as though everything in government is, you must know someone, you must be connected, you must, there's no real sense of merit. As someone made a bold claim the other day, I'm not saying they are right, but you made a bold claim that anyone who gets government contract and tells you that they just, bid for it or they went, it's highly unlikely. So that being said, do you think this might put a dent on whatever work he's doing? Just on Monday, he unveiled the new online, passport and all of that. And then it has now even gotten so far that people are now recalling past events. Take, for instance, the very popular trending video way back where the current Senate president was before a committee where he said he was making statements that the House of Rep members were benefiting from one corruption or another. And there was someone saying, Honorable Minister, off your mic. It has now been, uncovered or taken back to that time that was the deputy for that Senate committee,
House of Rep committee, he was deputy chairman,
he chaired. So people are starting to put two and two together and saying, is this man really what's the the hype or what people are saying about him? So what do you make of this whole saga? And how it keeps expanding. We even have CEOs of some banks being called by the EFCC. It just seems to be spiraling further and further, and more names are being thrown into the pot.
We can all remember when former President Buhari came on board, there were a lot of allegations, list of corrupt people that was going to be released and never came out to public domain. The truth still remains that when you fight corruption, corruption will come back hard at you. Now, if you watch in this administration, the two young people who before now were doing excellently well is the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. Now, you find out that these are the two people that are now being haunted. We know the racketing that has been going on in the immigrations, when it comes to passports and the rest of them. You don't think those people will fold their hands and just sit and watch you just come take food away from them? It has to boil back to attitudinal change. I asked this question the other day I was here. Do Nigerians really want good governance? Or Nigerians just want to find their own hands on the national cake and cut their share? Because if truly you want good governance, now what is the fault of this young man? Is there any law in the country that says I cannot be an owner of a company and resign at the point of political appointment and my company continue running? So should my company be folded because I'm now a political appointee, and those that were working and feeding from that company should no more eat, should no more drink, should be off because that I'm now a political appointee? We should have be honest to ourselves. Now he is no more. He has resigned. He's on record that he resigned from being the chairman of that organization while he was in the House of Reps 5 years ago. The company still runs. The company pays tax. The company has workers who feed, who have been paid salaries. So isn't it an offense that my company goes to? I'm a contractor. So my company now goes, because if I don't get a political appointment, my company and the workers will not feed again. They can't go to bid for a government job any longer because I'm a political appointee. No.
But Nigerians are wondering if he really did not exert any influence.
No, the problem with Nigerians is Nigerians are very quick to pull. We have this pull him down at all cost syndrome. Nigerians are very good to pull down anybody at every instance. For everything you do, there's a record somewhere. Somebody is keeping a video. You could watch the kind of lot of video that has come out about Betta Edu and the rest of them. So I shouldn't have a private life again because I'm in government. I shouldn't do the right. I shouldn't live my life again because I'm in government. We should be honest to ourselves and be fair to these people. They are humans also. Yes, they are there to serve us. We should give them all the cooperation they need when they are doing the right thing and support them. I've seen links this guy, this NSAS guy before coming up at the minister, and I wonder, what do we really want? Do we want the best or not?
That being said, I think that question is one that deserves answering. There's, I believe, the popular former on-air personality, popularly known as Daddy Freeze, says something about he prefers, old crooks or old corrupt persons to young corrupt persons. So I think the question here is there forgivable corruption, so to speak, wherein if somebody is performing and they seem to be performing and they are doing well enough, it's okay if they skim off the top and all of that? Because when you said, do we want the best, I'm wondering, is it a case where we can let some people off the hook if we feel that they are delivering on their core mandates?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is this: don't come after them because you feel they are blocking where you were dipping your hands in public funds before now. Now, go through have anybody gone to check the process to which the award of consultancy was awarded, the contract for consultancy was awarded to that company? Has everybody done? Has everybody checked that? Have you checked their papers, if their papers are up to date with the FIRS, with Bureau for Public Procurement, with ITF, with NSITF and the rest of them? If yes, and they actually bidded for that consultancy project, why not? Why not? They should be given. Now, where you have issues is if you can prove that they didn't actually bid for it, they did not actually carry out the assignment, and at the end of the day, they were awarded, and it was not used for what it was awarded for, then we can now say, okay, yes, at this point, these people were corrupt and they should be prosecuted for that. But if not that, why should we be quick? Enough of this media trial. We've had a lot of people who have been tried on the media in previous administrations, and at the end of the day, the case went nowhere. Allow EFCC to do their job. Let them come up with a report and indict whoever they indict, and give them fair hearing too. Prosecute them, go to court, and let them also defend themselves. If truly they are guilty, why not? But till then, let Nigeria stop this media trial and allow these people work and allow these people concentrate. We have ministries that nothing is happening, nobody is saying anything about them. Do you want to tell me that corruption is not also happening there? There is. But why is it that whenever you see there's this person that wants to change things from the way Nigeria, I think what Nigeria hates is Nigeria hate change. And when I mean change, positive change. When they are used to a way, they don't want anything that goes against it. They're always quick to react. And that is just it. When there's nothing like forgivable corruption. I'm not saying because he's performing, if he dips his hand where you should. No, but first, give him a fair hearing. Let the EFCC do their investigation. Find out if the process leading to that awarding of that contract for consultancy was followed by the letter. If it was, then fine. Where I will have issues is if that company got the contract under the ministry where he is minister. Then I have more concerns about that.
But does it matter if it's still a shareholder? That is to say, whatever profits came from this arrangement, it was virtually find his way into his pockets.
I own a company, and I got elected into public office. I decided to make my wife the head of that company. Now, do you want to tell me that when my wife does anything that were as a result of proceeds from what the company got, I will tell her no, because I'm not a public office holder, I shouldn't? There's no law that says that. Where I have issues is if I now decide to use that company with the guys that my wife is the director, and I award the contracts in my office to that company. That shows that no matter what I say, even if the company was the best, it shows that there have been interference somewhere. But if the company goes out and bid for a job in any other ministry and is able to get it, and there's no way you could trace it to say I influenced the company to get the job, then there's no issue there. We should stop this. You want to tell me that in developing clients of the world, there are no companies that are run, people who were that's okay, beautiful. Let's go back to a few years ago. Donald Trump was the president of the United States of America. We know the kind of companies Donald Trump had in the US. So do you want to tell me that those companies were closed down for the number of years Donald Trump was president?
No, but he actually did have quite a bit of backlash over issues of tax and the companies and so on and so forth. But
exactly what I said. When you have such issues, does this consultancy firm, do they pay their tax? Do they have they gotten all the required documents they need? Did they actually bid? Did they win? Was the contract awarded free, fair, and transparent? If fine, then I don't see any issues with this. There's no issues. Let's stop making a hill out of a dunghill. It's not the issue. The major issue is Nigeria getting better?
Is it
are there food on the table of the people? Are they creating employment? Is life of people more secured? These are the major issues, not all this personal distraction, this little distractions to take people off the major picture, the major picture, and start now. We few weeks ago we heard about the killing in Plateau. Nobody's talking about that again. Everybody's talking about the minister. We heard about the kidnapping in Abuja a few days ago in the suburb. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's now talking about the minister. Let's leave these distractions. Let EFCC do their job, and let's face the major issue and ask those that we have put in elective offices the right questions: why things are not going the way it should go, and why things should go the right way. And until then, and to seal it up, let's make public office unattractive. I think by then the right people will get in, and the right people will be able to put in that change that we want. But until then,
so how can that happen? Is it reducing allowances? Is it making it work more difficult?
No, it's not by releasing allowances. Okay, I'll take you back to my state. In 1991, Kogi State was created, and we're supposed to have the first civilian governor. A very family friend, a father, late Nuaudu, was mentioned to be governor. Late Nuaudu was a civil servant all his life. He was still service, active service then, but he doesn't have money to run for governor. Perfect gentleman, integrity personified, man with unquestionable character. Best would have had, one of the best governor would have had. He called his friend, Prince Abakar Audu, who is now late also, and said, I don't have this. You have been in the banking sector, you could rally around and get funds, come and be governor. And Audu won before that administration was outed. Then, in 1999, when we returned back to democracy, Audu came again as governor. And in 2003, the same man ran for governor in Kogi State, a small party. And it will interest you to know that the people of the state were not concerned about what they were going to gain from him being governor of the state. They were concerned about t-shirts, about caps, about how much did he come to share, about the rice and the rest of them that he brought. So they decided to go with those who were sharing those things at the expense of a man who would have brought change and brought laughter to their households. Now, you don't expect a man in Nigeria, and according to our Electoral Act, for you to be governor or president, you need not less than $1 billion to $5 billion. That's what the Electoral Act stipulates that is allowed for you. Now, you don't expect me to spend $5 billion to secure an office, and you expect me not to recoup my money before thinking about you. So until we now pick the right people, boil back to party politics, pick the right candidates who are people of integrity, and push them into elected office, and let them also know that they got in there not because of their money, but they got in there because of who they are, and they can be removed by the people if they don't deliver. Until then, it's all about cutting that. Even if you cut that, in this country we had a president who said he was going to slash his salary into two and take half of it. His traveling allowance was about 18-point-something million. So which one would he prefer? His salary is 3 million naira. His traveling allowance is 18-point-something million. Did he cut his allowance? No, he only cut his salary. So who is deceiving who? Until we decide to bring in people of integrity. And how do we do that? It boils back to party politics. Time of selection of candidates at the party, and make it unattractive, make it look easy a bit for the people. Imagine I want to run for governor and I have to buy a form of over 40-50 million, and I don't have it. So a poor man's, a wise poor man's voice is not heard. So until then we are not ready to make headway. And the same people, see, the problem with Nigerians is that we have bad followers as much as we have bad leaders, because those leaders were once followers who became leaders. We have bad followers that are not concerned about their well-being. They are concerned about what they can get at that minute, not minding any other thing. And if you want to, if they decide to choose you above me, even when you're doing the wrong thing, as long as it's somebody that they want, it goes. So what I now do is I now go to find out what did you do that they love you, and I begin to do it. And that's going to be, it's going to cost me a lot. As I am now, before now, I go into my village and I go out and nobody know I am around. Now I can't go into my village and go out the same way again. He's a politician, he's always on the TV in Abuja, he has brought money from Abuja, I have to spend. You have to contribute, somebody's wife gives birth, you have to pay, you have to bring money, he's doing any ceremony, you contribute, the mother die, you pay, he's doing everything that's happening in the village, you have to bring money. Now, how do you want these people to continue like this? That's the bedrock of what we are suffering today.
Politics is very costly.
It is. It is. It is. And the followers are even the major problem. If you ask me as a representative, I sent you, okay, we saw some few days ago some representatives showing their own truckloads of rice that were given to them by the president as palliative for their people. There are some people that haven't gotten yet, that we didn't even know that there was rice being given at all, except when those representatives came out to say it. And before that, there was news that the president gave them millions of naira to go for holiday, not knowing that it was not in cash, but equivalent of goods. So, information, there's no much information out there. And people are not ready to learn. People just are ready to just hear what they want to hear and they run with it and continue to behave the way they behave. So until we are ready to, there should be an attitudinal change. Until then Nigeria is going to continue the way it is.
Right. Out of curiosity, you're speaking on party politics now. A few days ago, I had the guest on here and I posed the question to him about opposition. I believe there was some social media back and forth between some Labour Party persons and the PDP, particularly the Labour Party presidential candidate, said that his party is the main opposition party, and some people took offense to that. So while speaking here, my guest, in his own candidness, said that there's no opposition anymore. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. So what do you think is happening? We are talking about the APC, definitely that the ruling party, that the ones in charge. So comments will come here and there and so on and so forth. But what is your take on how opposition has fared so far? Is there any semblance of it? Are they doing well enough? Are they holding the ruling party to account?
With all honesty, the last time we had opposition parties in Nigeria was in 2014, and that was the APC. They are the only opposition party. PDP is a party that you all remember in this country. PDP said they were going to be in government for 60 years. So PDP never prepared. They never had it in their plans that they will ever be an opposition party. And the APC came and gave them a run for their money. And today, the APC is there. So the PDP is trying to get its footing. It hasn't been able to. And even the Labour Party has been clouded with a lot of legal tussle here and there. Today, there's this chairman. Tomorrow, there's no chairman. There's this faction and there's no this faction. I agree with the person. The truth about it is that there's no opposition in Nigeria. The same National Assembly where things are just going haywire, we have Labour Party members there. I take you back a bit. When we talked about the purchasing cars for National Assembly members, there were Labour Party members in the National Assembly. No one of them raised an eyebrow. They both collected it. We had deals in the PDP. None of them did the same thing. They both collected it. So it's when it comes to the downtrodden that you now start hearing on PDP and APC. No, when it gets to their own level, there's nothing like a PDP, Labour, or APC. So there is no opposition. Oppositions are not. You watch things happening and the PDP is sleeping. They are not saying anything. We all knew what was happening. I'll take you back again to 2012. The oil subsidy removal thing of Jonathan. You saw what opposition did. That was when we had opposition in this country. But now there's none. Nobody's even ready to go anywhere to do anything.
Well, what do you think caused this?
PDP was not prepared.
For opposition?
For opposition. They felt they were going to be in power forever. And it happened that they are now in the position. So they don't even know how to go about it. I think one of the brightest person that has been a publicity secretary of the PDP that I hold at high esteem till tomorrow is Olagbodiyan. Olagbodiyan was actually the man who was everywhere and actually giving APC a run for when he was publicity secretary, organizing secretary. But now the present person there, things will go haywire 2-3 weeks after he does one long press briefing, post on social media, and that's all. And he goes back to sleep for another few months again. No, that's no opposition. Opposition is not that I'm not in support of criticizing everything that government does. No, but when government are not doing the right thing, you stand up and speak. The Edu lady was where before? She was in the PDP, and today she's in the APC. And tomorrow she can wake up again and she's back to the PDP. There's no party ideology. So there's no opposition. Honestly, there's no opposition. I think even sometimes we even find out that it's like the opposition are actually the ones even inside the APC are even the ones, some of the factions in the APC are even the one even speaking than even the opposition parties that we have. There's no opposition anywhere.
The party is opposing itself.
It's opposing, there's no opposition anywhere.
That's interesting. Well, our phone lines are open now, so you can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. Let's move a little bit further now to Kogi State. This is the last lap of Governor Yahaya Bello's tenure, and he has, in recent days, he has sacked 4 Kogi monarchs. He's appointed new, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Oinoi.
Yes.
He has also appointed a new Kogi cabinet days to end of his tenure. Does this in any way indicate anything, or is just a normal run of business as the new administration begins? And I'd just like to get your projections, really.
First thing I said when I saw the sacks of the monarch, I said, I think one thing we need to do is to review our constitution and make it a way that the monarchs are not subject to the governor. He won't be able to fire and hire them at will. That's one. 2, with all honesty, the young man has tried. The young man has done his best as governor. I think most of his annoyances agreed. I can't have you under my payroll and watch you work against me. It's not done. Let's be honest to him.
Do you believe that's what's happening?
Some of those issues are part of what is happening. You can't be under my payroll. It happened to Jonathan. Now, when Jonathan was president, Jonathan did a lot of projects that nobody knew about. And it's after Jonathan left that we now knew that Jonathan did this, Jonathan did that, because the administration, within the administration, there are people who were bent on making sure that people don't know what Jonathan was doing because they wanted Jonathan out at all costs. The same thing happened to Yahaya Bello. I have over 50 projects that Yahaya Bello has executed as governor of Kogi State. These projects where nobody talked about it, no matter how evident it was. Everybody wanted to just make sure that you paint the Yahaya Bello in bad light and make sure you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name and just make sure you kill it. And the young man will not, ordinarily you don't expect him to fold his hands and have those people around him. So if, like I said in the issue of Betta Edu, was the process leading to their removal carried out properly? If yes, did they run foul of the law in any way? If yes, then why blame the young man for removing them? I think one thing with Yahaya Bello, and one thing I know about Yahaya Bello is Yahaya Bello doesn't have a vacuum. There's always someone there to take over when you are not doing what you're supposed to do. And we should commend him for that. I've spoken to indigents of Koton-Kelfi, and they were happy with the removal of the monarch. That actually the person who is even now the monarch was supposed to be the right person who was supposed to be monarch in the first place. So something went wrong somewhere, and the other man found his way in. And now the rightful person has taken his position. So if he has not run foul of the law, then I don't see any reason why we should blame him for. Instead, we should congratulate him and celebrate him for being able to take the political wheel and effecting those change even few days. So that shows that Yahaya Bello will be working from the first day in office in 2015 to the last day in office in 2024.
Well, it's interesting. He's handing over to a fellow party member, and all the while they preached continuity. What do you make of the move this close to the end, being that a new boss, so to speak, is coming on board? And there are really a lot of concerns about the new governor's independence. Will he really be the governor, or will he be, someone who might just be a Yahaya Bello 2.0, so to speak? People point to the his body language, so to speak, where he got his certificate of return. He bowed and presented it to the current governor. We're wondering, can we expect that he will be the governor in name and also in action, and not just some sort of figurehead?
Towards the end of the last year, I was at the State Assembly, and 99% of those at the State Assembly were all young people. We've never had it like that in Kogi State. Yahaya Bello is the Asiwaju of the North Central. Yahaya Bello is a movement. Yahaya Bello is grooming young people into leadership position. Now, if Yahaya Bello picked me and made me, saw the qualities in me and decided to make me who I am, it's normal for me to give him that respect. Sir, you saw me worthy to be governor. You sold me to the people and they bought it. And today I'm governor and there is a certificate of return. Thank you. I don't say anything bad in that. He has not done anything wrong with that. That doesn't show that he's not going to be in charge when he becomes governor. One thing I know is that Yahaya Bello has a blueprint, and like Asiwaju, our president, did in Lagos, his blueprint since 1999 has been what they have been using, successive governments have been using and developing Lagos State up to where it is today.
Should it be so, do you think?
No, see, why won't it be? What matters is, does this blueprint, is it going to be for the betterment of the people of the state?
Well, the idea is that each governor should be able to have their own vision, their own pattern, or their own overarching idea of what the state is. If one person's ideology keeps succeeding across governments,
no, when I talk about this blueprint was not that Bello sat down, picked his pen and wrote it from first to the last word. No, he had inputs from every part of the state. What needed to be done? How do we develop the state? How do we get the state to where it needs to get to within this number of years? And what do we do? We had the Vision 2020, we had the Vision 2010, and the rest of them. It wasn't a one-man thing. Yes, it's just that he's opportune that it happened when he was governor, and he was able to say, okay, if we're able to do this within this number of years, Kogi will be better for it. And now, when I want to leave, I have to bring in somebody who was part of this, who understands the process, and who is somebody that can run with it. When we talk about continuity, the problem we have a lot of projects in Nigeria that are uncompleted. Why? Because successive governments come and want to start their own fresh project that they might not finish in the first 4 years or even in their 8 years in government. So when you have a blueprint whereby we say, okay, in 10 years, Kogi should everywhere in Kogi should have a rural electrification. There's nothing bad in the next government coming and say, okay, the only thing is, yes, you might say, okay, if I was going to go this way, maybe if I go this way too, we'll all both achieve or get to the same point at the end of the day. But not just that when this government is out after 8 years, you throw everything he has started off, you come again and start your own. No. That's why we're where we are. If we had followed the blueprint, look at what Buhari did in his first 4 years, the TSA was Jonathan's administration's project, and Buhari followed it through, and where with the railway and the airport remodernization and the rest of them. So I don't see anything bad in someone having a blueprint and saying, okay, bring in people who can run with him and achieve. And Yahaya Bello has done well. Yahaya Bello will be a governor that will be a former governor that will not interfere in the affairs of the state, but he will watch and guide the new governor to achieve their plan and program for the betterment of Kogi State. And Ododo, the incoming governor, also is a man who knows what he wants to do for the people of the state. He knows the pain, the tears, and the yearning of the people of Kogi State. And I know certainly he's not going to disappoint. Now that we are preaching renewed hope, certainly he's going to key in, and Kogi State is going to be better for it.
All right, fair enough. Days to the inauguration, do you think there's been enough work done to bring back that harmonization? We know during the election, things went a bit haywire. Left, right, center, there were allegations here and there. Some persons have even gone as far as to challenge anyone who wants to hurt them for saying the truth and so on. So do you think the work has been done, especially the way the voting lines went? We saw the SDP candidate getting votes from his region, majority of the votes. We saw the APC candidate, the current governor-elect, also sweeping his own region and so on and so forth. So what work has been done to begin the harmonization? Or is it after inauguration that we will begin to see this? We should have expected by now something should be done.
A lot of work is going on presently. It's just that the people from the eastern part, the people in Abelo's government from the eastern parts, few of them, or most of them, were not just being sincere by telling the people the truth. It's like what I talked about Jonathan's government. The information in the north then was that Jonathan was depriving the northerners of what was supposed to have come to them because he's from the south and he's taking everything to the south. They didn't tell their people that the first Almajiri schools in the 19 northern in the 17 or thereabout 12 northern states were built by Jonathan. They didn't talk about the insecurity that Jonathan was fighting. We remember 2 weeks to the elections were postponed, and we know the heavy blow that was given to the Boko Haram thing. And it was reduced and restricted to just one local government in Borno State. They didn't talk about it. Instead, the northern elders started shouting that Jonathan was trying to wipe out the northerners from the country and the rest of them. So it's exactly what Bello too suffered. Bello was with people who were not ready to tell their people the truth, the honest truth about what was happening in governance. They had the information, they hoarded it. All they wanted was to get back at Bello at all costs. And this led to people voting based on ethnic and religious line, and which has not helped us. Kogi belongs to all of us. I talked about there's no dialogue, there's no zoning in our constitution, but there's what we call a gentleman agreement, where they all come to the table and discuss. If today the power is no more in your hands and is now in the central, what you do is cooperate with the central. And as you're cooperating with the central, let the central have that confidence in you that when the time comes to return power to you, they will also be safe and secure. Bello said it in different fora before elections, that if the Igalas can come together, which is from the eastern part of the state, can come together and in unity and with one voice, they have no choice but to hand over power to them. Did they actually come together? We will now blame Bello for it. Did it represent the people working inside the Bello's government, who are appointees from the eastern? Were they actually telling their people the true picture of what was happening in governance? They weren't, and this led to why people did what they did. So, and these were the same people who worked against the interest of the eastern part. So Bello should not be blamed for it. Bello, you heard him said the other day that he's going to come up with new crops of leaders from the eastern part and from every other part of the state. People who are really sincere, progressive minds who really want Kogi to be better. And I know Bello will pass that on to the incoming administration, and both of them are perfectly going to do well. Certainly Kogi is going to be better. And in coming days, we'll all see why Bello took the decision he took, and that's it.
All right, we'll be waiting and watching and seeing how that turns out. Let's move over quickly to other matters as we begin to round up. I'm sure you're aware of the whole degree racketeering issue, where fake degrees are being gotten. A Nigerian journalist went undercover and got a degree in less than a couple of weeks, and even was mobilized for the NYSC. And now the Ministry of Education has set up a 7-man committee to look into universities that are below 15 years old and so on and so forth. I'd like to get your thoughts on this and what damage you think this could cause, if it's allowed to fester. Because a lot of people are wondering, well, even if they did that, is it the first time? There are a lot of efforts to make it seem as though it's not such a big deal, that no one is really being affected. I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
I remember in 2016, I have this friend, a Nigerian, but born in the UK. I'm a citizen of the United Kingdom, and she told me something. She said, you don't need a BSc in accountancy or a BSc in business administration to work in the bank. The problem with Nigerians is you're seeking for a job and Nigerians are looking for 15 years experience, 20 years experience, 5 years experience, 3 years experience. Nobody is ready to recruit young Nigerians who want to learn and groom them into what you want them to be. This opens room for all this that we are saying. Now, you need for you to get there's some place that for you to get even as low as a driver job, you need to have either an ND to get it, which is something that ordinary a school sat, or someone who learned how to drive and has all the documents, his driver's license is intact, he knows the road signs and the rest of them, can ordinarily do. So until we begin to practice what we call dignity in labor, we won't stop having all this. We remember in this country there was a deputy director in the Ministry of Health who rose up to the level of deputy director with fake results. So am I saying that it was right? No, it's not. But the truth about it is that the system itself creates a room for all this. For you to get admission into a Nigerian university today, you know what it means for you to get admission into Nigerian university. And even when you get admission into university, you know all that happens in the university, premises and the campus and the rest of it. So if you look at all this, so I just pray that the necessary thing are done, and it won't be a witch hunt at the end of the day. And for the undercover, he did a good job by exposing most of those things that has been happening. Well, we also check in developed clients. Somebody is going to read literature in Nigeria. You say you want him to have credit in maths. What does credit in maths have to do with? So a lot of these things. So we should at least put the right things in order.
So you're saying rather than this committee, there should also be a revamp of the sector?
Yes, it's a revamp of the sector completely, and a complete overhaul of the educational sector, and make it flexible for people to access higher education in this country, and also, if I'm able to get up to ND, let me be respected for having this ND. It's not that I have ND, I have HND, somebody has BSc, there's this dichotomy. I start from level 7, the other person starts from level 8. So you're already creating room for all these irregularities in the system. So you have a HND, you served, I have a BSc, I served. We should all start on the same grade level. And when you are able to checkmate all these little things, people won't see it necessarily that I have to go cut corners to get BSc because that's the only thing that has been recognized. If I come to an establishment to look for a job today and I come with an HND and you come with a BSc holder is more recognized than even me, an HND holder. Not minding if I'm even better when it comes to delivering on the said assignment. So a lot of things need to be done. Yes, a panel is set. But like we know, there are a lot of reports and a lot of white paper raised on the committee reports and the rest of that are gathering dust on shelves in government and the rest of them. So I pray this will not be one of those rhetorics that will, after a few days, somebody else will do something and will start shouting about that and nobody will remember this again and it is all gone. I pray they do the right thing and Nigeria will be better for it.
All right, finally, just comments on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's announcement of reduction in traveling persons and so on and so forth. Is this noteworthy or should be expected?
You know, he said it that Nigerians have to sacrifice. And I think what the president is doing now is doing leadership by example, which is what we need in this country. Leadership by example. People now see that if the president himself can cut down on the number of the officials that travel with him, then why won't the governor and the rest of them do the same thing? So it's a welcome development. We should give him a pat on the back for taking the boost. I think one thing with this president is in charge of his government, and he takes the lead. He does. Is this in the local parliament saying "Atoknadu"? He says it, and he does exactly what he's saying. What he's preaching is what he's actually doing. So we should give him a nod for taking that step. At least it's going to cut down on our forex usage and the rest of it. So it's a welcome development.
But do you think this ideology presented in the budget, do you think there were efforts to also cut down, or it wasn't quite the same?
I think it's with the coming days we'll really understand. Ordinarily, even if that fund was actually budgeted for it, I remember saying it on this program the other time that people don't really know that if 10 billion was budgeted for a program or for a project in Nigeria, hardly you get 7 billion before the life of that budget expires. So that it was budgeted for doesn't mean that you're going to get the whole lump sum at the end of the day.
But the excess is going somewhere, isn't it?
There's always a return at the 31st of every year. Monies not spent are being returned back to government coffers at 12 midnight, 31st of every year. It's a normal norm. If you go to government agencies now, you can't get any payment between now and the next two weeks because the system has to regenerate itself and now reprogram for a new year. So certainly funds that are not spent are returned to the government coffers. So what is left now is for our National Assembly, who are supposed to carry out the oversight function, to actually ensure that those funds were returned to the government. And you've even seen on some public hearings, you hear even the National Assembly members asking the people that why were those funds not utilized, why were they returned? You understand? So ordinarily, some funds were, but when they are not used, so it's being returned to government coffers. So even though it was budgeted for, now that it is now announced that those trips are not going to hold any longer, the funds are going to be returned back to government coffers and be used for other things in the country. So it's a welcome development. I commend the president for that bold step.
All right, thank you so much, Mr.
Thank
Danjuma.
you, my
It's been
brother.
a pleasure. Thanks for coming on
Thank
the
you.
program.
And once again, Happy New Year.
Hope to wish you the same.
Thank you very
Hopefully,
much.
whatever their updates, we get to speak again.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right, that is all on this segment of the program. We'll go on a short break, bring you more reports, and when we return, the polity continues. Stay with us. We'll be right back.